the red here.
Game one.
Going to start game number 1.
Side out.
That's a tough speed up there from Irina on her back left foot, about a couple steps from the kitchen line. It's a little bit lower percentage of a play.
0-0-1.
Hands battle.
What a hands battle there. Notice how low they were able to keep that ball, too, at that pace.
Brooke Buckner, who's serving, won her match today against Leah Jensen in women's singles. So she'll be moving on tomorrow for singles in the semifinals.
What a counter right there by Irina, taking over that middle and catching the ball out in front of her, putting it in the back right corner.
Such a legend.
Wang.
Such a legend, Irina Tereschenko.
the MLP GOAT.
That's right.
Two, 0-2.
1-0-2.
Referee timeout.
Just love that energy between Irina and Allyce. Trying to stay positive
1-0-2.
with that paddle tap. So one thing you'll see right there, Allyce with her 2 forehand attacks coming over to take the middle ball, she likes to put her foot back to kind of keep her balance. And you'll see that with some players. Some people like to put their hand back, others will take their foot to get that balance on the attack ball.
ATP from Irina Tereschenko.
ATP body bag.
1-1-1.
The lob. Brooke is there with the overhead.
Second serve.
The reason why Brooke was able to hit such a solid overhead on that was because she was able to push off with her left foot just to get explosive, get under that ball, get behind the ball, and keep that contact point out in front of her. What an overhead.
Side out.
Tough third shot, miss into the net for the side out, but we are still at a tie game, 1-1.
1-1-1. Point.
Notice where Irina made contact with that dink. It was really close to her left ankle. She's going to want to keep that ball more out in front of her and a little bit higher up on the contact point.
A good spot from Zoe Wang.
Catching Irina, kind of leaning a little bit right. She was late to that ball, which is what made that ball sail long.
3-1-1. Point.
Bad luck from the tape there. Allyce crouched down ready for the counter, but the tape made the ball just rise right above her paddle.
And a timeout is called as Zoe. Low start for her, but I don't think it's over at all right now.
It's just begun.
Just begun.
They got so lucky on that.
Yes.
Wang had exactly what she was looking for. She was in the middle way early, and the ball was high. All she had to do was just hit it downwards, but she hit it forwards for some reason, and that ball sailed a little bit long.
Great hands battle.
Really good on the counter from both teams.
So the timeout worked, and here we are with a side out and a 3-point deficit.
Point.
Just wide with that dink, inside out. Not something that's easy to do, to switch directions with that from the position that she hit it from. See if they can capitalize off of this, Irina and Allyce.
Second serve.
Just kind of a casual, nonchalant drop right there.
Dialing it in. Another missed third, so they're definitely going to be targeting Irina on the return.
That's right. Maybe they might want to make an adjustment themselves, Allyce and Irina. Maybe having Allyce coming over to take that third. It looks like they're even targeting her at the net. But when what's working is working, you just keep doing it.
5-2-1.
The lob. And Irina is so there for the overhead.
And that's not going to work. They should have just kept the dink down low, keep it going and keeping it consistent. Irina loves that shot right there.
That's the patient part of the game, you know, when you get stuck in a rut and there's nothing unattackable, trying to attempt something new. So it is a risky thing to lob against the highest level players.
So that right there is probably why they was leaving away from Allyce, because her forehand going behind Wang right there is something that's kind of threatening. So they're trying to keep it over to Irina's side.
5-1.
That was an interesting serve. I thought we were going to see a dive there from Allyce for her first layout on the dive count.
2-5-2.
Oh, and the ball comes over to the commentary booth.
It still had action on it when it landed on the table.
Seems to me Irina and Allyce are both struggling to get up to the net on the service possession.
I think part of this is because of the wind. You'll see the wind's behind Wang and Buckner right now, and it's Irina's drops with the backspin. Kind of beware of that. Sits a little bit with the wind. And that's going to be way more effective there. Two-handed counter, add some pace and direction rather than having the one-handed slice, which will sit a little bit high.
Good spot from Allyce Jones. Forcing an extended Chloe Wang there.
2-5-1.
All right, down by 3. They need to gain some points here in order to close this gap.
Great shot by Buckner, putting in a really tough position, but with the forehand that high, she could have pretty much gone anywhere.
And here's the stack.
What a counter by Irina. Two-handed backhand counter doing the job for her. That's the second time we've seen that in the last 3 points.
The originator of the backhand poach, Irina Tereschenko.
3-5-2.
Allyce Jones, good look there.
Yeah, I'm sure she wants that one back. If we would have stayed a little bit lower on that ball, it might have gone a different way. She was a little bit too upright.
5-3-1.
That was good. That was in the back corner. So notice how short Irina Tereschenko's return was to begin with, which created the opportunity for Wang and Buckner to get right up on that ball and drive that forehand to their advantage, eventually winning them that point.
6-3-1.
Ooh, Buckner's like, I can counter back as well. But Irina, notice how silky smooth her two-handed backhand is. It's so loose. And that's kind of what you want to look for when you're hitting that two-y. If you're too tight with the grip, that ends up coming off too hot. Ooh, that lob is not going to do it. They needed to have that be a little bit either higher.
Back here in December, where we're, where the finals are, where all these players are accumulating to get into that tournament for the finals. But here we are back in game 1.
Notice Wang asserting her presence there, dominating the middle of the court and not letting them back in after that forehand inside-out dink pulled Allyce off the court. What a point there. You had a little bit of everything. You even got Allyce with the fake jump, and then Irina with the closeout volleyball move.
Remember how we were talking about how chaotic mixed doubles could be? Well, that was a chaotic point here in women's doubles.
Yes.
Let's go.
Ooh, she's kind of berating herself there. She knows that that wasn't something she wanted to pull at that moment. Not the right ball to go for that.
Well, here we are with our first game point.
10-3-2.
That's not going to stay in with the wind.
But look, they took the timeout. It didn't quite work for them, so they're down by 7. They need to score points here in order to find some hope here in game number 1.
And they just needed to do something different. I mean, whatever they've been doing right now hasn't been working, so they need to start to maybe employ a different strategy.
So both players are targeting Irina, it looks like, Walter.
And notice where they're targeting. They're targeting that one-handed backhand that keeps on sitting up a little bit because they're against the wind. And even if it does go over, it's been short.
Side out.
Allyce
Game point.
a little frustrated, playfully frustrated, but here we are with game point number 2.
10-3-1.
And the ball off the net, it stays in for game 1, 11-3, pretty convincing. Brooke, Buckner, Zoe Wang, won game 1, 11-3, and we're here starting game number 2.
That's what we need from Irina right there. Clearance over that net, not missing into the net, nice and calm, waiting for that to fall into her pocket and just ending it up the middle right there with her forehand.
Second serve.
Just missing at the top of the net. Do you think the side has...
The side change is definitely going to make a difference there. The wind behind them now instead of against them. And once again, right on cue, as you mentioned, that side does make a difference. Ball going into the net.
Just a little bit of gust, a little bit of wind going behind that ball could help you out. And but you also have to make an adjustment, as Irina, I'm sure, is finding her adjustments now that they're on the far side.
0-1-1. Second serve.
It's a good spot from Irina.
Good play by Irina.
Brooke Buckner is always sitting on
0-1-2.
that backhand, so to find that right shoulder is very tough to do.
What a slice by Irina. So much action on that ball, but even keeping that low, that's something that's really difficult to do.
And it's not popping up in this game.
1-0-1.
Ooh, you were right about sitting on that two-handed backhand counter. She was ready for that ball so much earlier. Had so much time to think about that, which is probably why she pulled it wide. And that's going to be the recipe right there. They're going to want to make sure that they're the ones pulling the trigger, Irina and Allyce, and making sure they're not making the uncharacteristic mistakes that they were making earlier.
3-0-1.
So notice something right there with Irina making that drop on the third. She's dropping it
First, and see if we could go to game 3.
Second serve.
She cut that a little bit too much with the location of that ball and the amount of action that was on it. Maybe a little bit of a push dink would have been better there. Middle ball before Irina could even snag it.
And great point construction, a lot better than game 2. The quality, you could just see the dinks are so much better.
That was an amazing point, all prompted by Allyce's drop that actually stayed really low with that slice. Irina coming over to capitalize.
6-0-2. Point. It was out.
Close calls. I couldn't see it.
I couldn't either. The ref definitely had the best view of that. It's right
I'm
in
so
front.
glad I'm not the ref.
7-0-2.
It's a tough job. So Irina kind of turning this around.
Yes, Irina.
Both for herself and her team.
Yes, yes. And what an improvement here as they are now ahead by 8 points in game 2.
Huge swing right here.
What?
What a get by Irina.
Oh, point of the
And
game.
it comes to an end, but I mean, an 8-0 lead,
Yes.
that's a pretty significant cushion that they've got here. They can definitely afford to be missing that.
So down by 8, what would you do here? Do you just go for it, or do you really work point by point?
Honestly, I want to say go for it. We've got a little bit of room here.
And the ball is wide.
The ref confirms it was wide.
But not a bad looking ATP from Zoe.
1-8-1.
Great spot from Allyce Jones.
Really well placed, Allyce. You'll notice that the pace of that ball, she didn't wind up for a full swing. She kind of took pace off just to guide it into putting it in a really good position, creating that air from Buckner.
An overswing from Brooke Buckner.
And we've seen kind of a little bit of a trend now. She's done that maybe about 3 or 4 times within the last few points, and
8-1-1.
she's going to take some pace off of that to make sure that that ball stays in play. So another error by Brooke Buckner. So if I were Irina and Allyce, I would probably be continuing to go at her right now until they've exhausted that resource, because definitely been getting a lot of errors from her.
Irina coming in hot with the poach.
It's some net love right there to boot.
Game point.
And here we are with game point number 1 going to Irina
10-1-1.
Tereschenko and Allyce
I
Jones.
have a pretty good feeling about this one.
Oh.
Serve.
Allyce is so ahead of it with her preparation to hit an overhead, but that ball just dropped
Game
all of
point.
a sudden at the last second.
I think she's testing her ankle for some reason. She's kind of rolling it. Something might have happened there with her step. You'll notice she's kind of,
Walking it out.
yeah.
Player, can you continue?
So with
10-1-2.
adrenaline pumping there, that's something that maybe she might want to revisit in a little bit when her adrenaline's worn off.
Side out.
Back to that backhand slice cut.
So saved 2 match points, or sorry, 2 game points. So let's see if they can gain
1-10-1.
some momentum here and maybe tie it up.
Maybe return it to Brooke Buckner. Yeah, good spot to Brooke's left foot. That's a tough shot to get back. See if they can break him one more time.
1-10-2. Point.
Too big of a swing from Irina.
It's probably not the kind of power that you want from that height.
2-10-2. Point.
All right, a little momentum shift here.
Just a little mini one, but you also feel the gust of wind picking up a little bit as well.
3-10-2. Side out.
All right, now it's a side out. See if Allyce and
Game point.
Irina can close this out to even out the match. 1 game apiece.
10-3-1. Second
Not going to
serve.
do it on that third.
But it's kind of a tough position to aim that third with a gust. To go for the sideline like that, I think I might have gone for a
Game
higher
point.
percentage play, maybe in the middle or something.
10-3-2.
Nice flick.
Side out.
No
From Zoe.
damage.
Credit to Zoe and Brooke for staying alive in this and really wanting to like get the side out and
3-10-1.
still work
And close
to
it
win
out
it
in
in
2.
game 2. Yeah.
Point.
Well done by working the point.
Yeah, that's the pop up they're waiting for, but notice how much action and spin each of these ladies are getting with their dinks, and how low they're able to keep it, and how close they're able and tight they're able to keep it to the net.
4-10-1.
Some pretty tough dinking.
Second serve. Four, 10-2.
Ooh, and a missed serve for the
Tight
side out.
serve from
Side
Brooke
out.
Buckner over here.
Game point.
All right. We're at game point number 6.
10-4-1.
There you go. Brooke ready for that counter.
Yeah, I felt like that was a bait from Brooke
It was.
right into Irina's Tereschenko's backhand so that she could
10-4-2.
counter. Wow.
Side out. Four, 10-1. 10-2. Side out. Game point.
All right, let's see
10-4-1.
if Irina and Allyce could finally close out game 2. We want to see game 3. And that's way too
Second
high of a
serve.
drop there from Allyce.
Game point.
They got to play like this is any other point. I feel like the
10-4-2.
pressure is getting to them here after the 5th side out of having game point. Oh, unlucky off of the net. Brooke, Buckner, and Zoe Wang are going to work their way to win game 2 here.
They're making them work, that's for sure.
4-10-1.
And we have to stop play in the middle of the point. 2 water bottles came onto the court. So what happens is when something from off the court comes on, like a ball or debris, they redo the point. But that was such a good point.
Well-crafted point too.
It's always on the good points,
They're probably
Walter.
like 30 strokes in.
4-10-1.
Oh, Irina wants that shot back so bad.
She got what she wanted there on that.
It was a gift.
Yeah, that high ball.
5-10-1.
Hold up, let your feet.
Stop play. More debris. Five, 10-1. Second serve. Five, 10-2.
What a dig.
Point.
Oh, and Irina's missed a couple. I would call a timeout here.
Yeah, they're kind of in a momentum swing right now.
They're talking about it. Allyce did mention it, and they're going to move on.
6, 10-2.
Oh, what a counter by Irina. She's sitting there waiting for that drive, knowing that the ball is going to head up the middle.
Game point.
All right. Game point number 55.
10-6-1.
No kidding.
I'm just kidding.
Second
Can
serve.
do it.
Game point. 10-6-2.
Oh, so they tried stacking there, and that didn't work. And so we have another side out, Walter.
No kidding.
This is wild.
6-10-1.
They're at 6 now.
Relentless attacking.
Yeah, so notice how low Allyce Jones gets on those counters. That's what kind of helps her keep her ball low. Almost to the point where her knee is touching the ground.
6-10-2.
And one at a time, 1 point at a time, slowly but surely on each side out. Zoe and Brooke have been inching away.
So the thing I don't understand is why don't they just call a timeout?
7-10-2.
They're like at least 4 points overdue.
Beautiful speed up in the middle from Allyce Jones.
Unexpected, just lulling them to sleep and then just pulls it up the middle.
Game point.
Something they
Timeout.
oh, there you go.
Servers.
And there it is, the offensive time.
Immediately.
Time in. 10-7-1.
Oh!
Second serve.
She got exactly what she wanted. Another
Game
high
point.
and errant put away forehand ball by Irina Tereschenko.
Go, end it.
Oh man, the frustration in Irina's
10-7-2.
face. Yeah. The lob serve.
Side
And they
out.
couldn't do it again, Walter.
That's just a frustrated play right there. I think part of that is credit to Brooke and Wang. I mean, their defense is just really
7-10-1.
keeping them in that point.
Second serve. Seven, 10-2.
Oh, and
Timeout.
a missed serve.
That's
so
a tight
no
serve
points.
right there.
Yeah, so no points scored. Okay, so again, the crowd is going behind Irina and Allyce on this point right here. Game point number 85.
That's right.
Sorry.
That's slicer. Oh, she finally gets what she wants, and right there with the closeout is Irina Tereschenko and her quick hand.
Presented by
Game
FitVine
three.
Wine.
Time in. 0-0-2.
We are here. Game 3, finally. We've been wanting this. And missed return.
Second.
Yeah, I mean, it's already, she's already serving, and then the back is sounds too big.
The crowd?
Yeah. I can't hear you.
I can do that for you.
So Wang right there. Big
1-0-2.
comment about the crowd and their volume.
Off the net.
Oh, bad luck from tape right there. She was
The
sitting
net
on
gods. The net gods are playing a huge role in this game.
that. Yeah, that was a tough point. Hit the net multiple times.
Kind of interesting to see a couple bait balls, a couple high dinks that were not attacked.
Another tape ball.
Great digs.
Oh, she was right there.
Side out.
But so was Irina.
Zero, 2-1.
Yeah, that's set way too high.
Yeah, and that Brooke Buckner two-handed backhand is not one to be trifled with.
1-2-1.
lob. That's the first lob we've seen from Allyce off of the volley like that.
And interestingly enough, it didn't go deep into the court because the wind brought it back.
But it worked. Change up in strategy. There we go, Allyce. Maybe that might give him some energy.
Allyce took 2 steps back as she knew Zoe was going to attack off of the bounce. So good on her for seeing it early and being prepared to damage.
2-1-1.
And giving herself more time to combat that.
Point.
That was the wind right there, pulling the ball along.
3-1-1. Point.
A couple points off the side out make a huge difference as they're ahead by 3.
4-1-1. Second serve.
Too much power there by Wang closing out the middle ball.
Yeah, great pressure, applying that pressure. The returning team gets to be at the net first, so that team that's responsible for being at the net first has to keep applying that pressure.
Irina doing her best to not get pegged by the ball.
Allyce is like, I'm sorry I set you up for that.
Yeah, no kidding.
It wasn't intentional, I promise.
1-4-1.
Back to business.
Oh.
Second serve.
If that first ball wasn't out, that second one made sure that it was out.
Yeah, very close on both of those.
Yeah, I actually thought the first one might have been out. Oh, tape again.
It's a game of inches. The accuracy on every single shot is so important in this game.
Especially with the wind coming into play, too.
Point.
And a missed return from Allyce Jones.
Three, 4-2.
Oh, I thought that ball was going to just drop at the last second there.
If it was from the other side, that would have actually dropped in because the wind. But the wind didn't help their cause there.
Zoe and Brooke
4-3-1.
gained 2 points there, so they close a little gap down by 1.
Point.
That was the right shot, but just executed into the net.
5-3-1.
Right play, though, by Wang.
Point.
So we are in game number 3. At game 3, whoever reaches 6 first happens here on the end change. Ahead by 3, Allyce Jones to serve.
6-3-1. Second serve.
There's 1 stop.
Still got one more chance to make a little bit of a run. Broaden up this lead.
6-3-2.
Oh, that third is not going to do it. That looked like the third from game 1.
Yes, I was thinking the exact same thing.
Three, 6-1.
Oh,
Second serve.
He's relentless with that put away.
that ball did not go down. Typical shot when it's hit, it goes down to the feet, but that one went right into the hand.
Yeah, which is why you see Brooke shaking her
3-6-2.
head there, looking at her finger to see if it's bleeding.
Brooke is just always there with her two-hander.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, like, she does a lot of these bait shots.
Yes.
You see that a lot from her, and it's like she wants you to attack the ball so she could attack you back.
Exactly, exactly. couldn't get over the top of that last
The issue
overhead.
why that one went wrong is because she didn't snap down hard enough with pronation, and it wasn't in front of her enough. It got too far behind her,
5-6-2.
which is what led the ball to sail long.
Side out.
Okay, we're at the side out. Where a couple points were gained, which is good. Now they're down by 1.
6-5-1.
The lob.
There it is.
Allyce.
That's not the spot to go to. Notice Allyce was leaning to her left in the middle to take that as a forehand.
Yes.
She speeds it up to the middle, and Wang's sitting there with her forehand. So she's a righty, which means her cross-court shot's going to the open space where Allyce just left open because of that
6-5-2.
poach.
Good spot there, right in the middle. They need to communicate. Irina and Allyce need to call that shot as Brooke has been pushing towards that spot, and it's a good one.
It is, and you see
5-6-1.
after this point here.
Second serve.
That's not the shot you want from that location. Speed up from the ankles. 2 steps behind the kitchen line. Brooke shaking her head.
5-6-2.
Oh. That's the spot right there. So you see Irina attacking the forehand of Brooke Buckner. Even with the slice backhand, it's at a little high. Brooke's sitting on her backhand so hard that for her to switch the grips or switch the positioning to get that forehand is going to be really tough for her. So if Irina can keep targeting that spot, it's
6-5-1.
definitely a vulnerable zone for Brooke Buckner.
Or be patient enough to find it, right? Oh,
Second serve.
Valiant effort with the recovery there, just wasn't enough for the aggression of both Brooke and Wang as Irina and Allyce retreating backwards, trying to make their way back into the point.
6-5-2.
Great
Point.
serve there by Irina, nice and deep into the corner.
yeah, and it had like a loopy little off pace
7-5-2.
to it.
Just an awkward bounce too.
Defensive lob.
Oh. She was sitting on that ball right in the middle, fed right to her forehand.
That was such a great point. Oh my goodness.
They were asking if they were going to call a timeout, but I think they just wanted a quick drink.
Little hydration break.
Yeah.
5-7-1. Second serve.
I mean, that little hydration break kind of kept the momentum on their side.
5-7-2.
What a shot by Allyce, capitalizing, noticing that both of her players were still about 4 steps away from the kitchen line and applying the pressure, not letting them in. They're going to want to keep on doing that to keep this lead and close out the match.
7-5-1.
Oh, she got it. Oh, way to leave that ball. What a dodge by Irina, making sure that she didn't make any part of her body or paddle touch that ball as it was flying long.
8-5-1.
Another lob in the same location. That's the one. Now they're rolling. Momentum all on the side of Irina and Allyce. Playing a key role in their building of their lead.
Do you think Brooke and Zoe need to initiate or be a little bit more aggressive off the bounce?
9-5-1.
Yeah, I definitely would. That's something that would apply more pressure on Irina and Allyce. Right there, the attack, right on cue, as you mentioned. The attack from Wang, creating the issue, and Irina not being able to recover on that middle ball.
Oh, that's a good spot from Irina, though. That's the spot that she's been trying to target, but Brooke is there. She does a great job at blocking that ball back. So here they are, down by 4. Let's see if they could make a comeback here.
5-9-1.
Oh no, she wanted to keep Wang back. She was still a step off from that kitchen line, but she opted for the two-handed backhand flick from the ankles. Tough shot to execute there.
Sometimes you just got to respect the fact that that drop is too good, let it bounce, and play it off the bounce.
And sometimes you just drop the drop because you have no other option there. Oh, speaking of options, inside-out backhand from the ankles by Irina. That's a really tough spot, and definitely not one Brooke anticipated coming towards her way.
Great spot from Zoe.
Just as you mentioned earlier, they're applying a little bit more offensive pressure, Brooke and Chao Wang. So Irina and Allyce are calling a timeout to kind of gather their thoughts. Hopefully,
Brooke and Zoe trying to get at least a tie here on this side out. They're only 2 away from the tie.
What a poach by Brooke, and like we were mentioning earlier, they are now on the attack rather than responding to the attack.
8-9-2.
And there's the speed up, right?
By Allyce, and which is what got them that point.
Yes, so both teams looking to stay aggressive. Irina and Allyce only 2 away from the match.
What a game. Ooh, that's a little... Oh, what a play by Allyce. Throwing that lob up in desperation as they were definitely out of position at that point.
And here we are with match point number 1, but we all know how long it took for Irina and Allyce to close game number 2. Will that be the same story here on match point?
Token Allyce dive didn't work that time. But guess what? I think they have another shot at this.
They do. This is
point number 2.
Match point number 2. I'm keeping a tally this time, so I'm not making up numbers. Here we go. Let's see it. No one's taking the
I
bait.
know, you saw that. Oh, too many high balls.
Brooke finally decides to take it when she's comfortable, when she's in the right position, and now we have a side out. Those match points are gone, and here's an opportunity for Brooke and Zoe.
What is going to happen?
8-10-1.
Off the net, and the lob.
Tape is what decided that point.
The lob from Allyce created all of that chaos and proves to continue to be successful.
And Brooke and Chao Wang tried their own lobs of their own, but it's so funny how Irina's overhead there, you could tell she took off probably like 80% on that overhead.
It's
Nobody
not,
wanted to miss.
Yeah, no, it's not how hard you could hit a ball. It's about who could keep that ball in play, keep it going, and Irina and Allyce are on top of that one.
That's right. Placement over power.
8-10-2.
So here it is, match point number 3, Walter.
Side out. Let's go. Match point.
Let's see if they can close it out here with a nice deep serve. What they're looking for is an aggressive serve. Stay in that driver's seat, keep the offensive, and
10-8-1.
keep Brooke away from the
Left.
kitchen. line.
Replay. 10-8-1.
Lob serve.
Trying to keep her back. I knew that was coming.
That is wide. Allyce Jones, Irina Tereschenko taking it in 3 games with the epic lob.